start with the firm grid because it's, again, something you're very used to, and it's a very common look and feel. But everything starts back on client. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to come back into the client area. I'm going to look for a new client I just put in, a new workflow client. And if you look at what we've got, I've got absolutely nothing set out for this person. Many ways of doing this. Again, Ted's going to cover some of that as we go through it. But the simplest is I've just got a job I want to do for this client. It's a new annual job. So it's a new annual event. I want this thing to happen on the 30th of August, and I want it to repeat every year. Now, I could have done this on the month end, said that was really the 31st. And if I ask it to do it on the 31st, then of course I'm going to choose to do this every month on the end of the month, or every month, or whatever. And how long is it going to take? We're going to come back and talk about audit. This is just very simple. I'm doing a job. It's supposed to be done on that month. I say create, and it asks me to confirm that that's what I'm doing. Yes. And now this client has a new event. Again, the simplest thing is I'm doing a job, and it's there on the 31st. And you can go through to any number of years in the future and see the same thing. I come through to February, March, April, May, June, July, August. And there's my job coming up for next year. You can look ahead any number of years and see them. The same is true in your grid. When you come into the grid, it's just a different look at the same thing. What work do I have to do for the client? When you're in the master event of the client, it's everything you're doing for them and when it recurs and whatever. That stuff, all of your clients now have these individual entries. They all show up in the workflow. So when you come into the workflow area under the firm, then you're going to be seeing everybody that you have work that needs to be done during that period of time. And if I look in here and look for my clients, you're going to see there's my new firm for work. So there's my new workflow client. There's the entries. All of this stuff basically just shows you when is it to be done. I have filtered it when I first came in here from August 1 to the end of September. I could have sent to the end of August. I tend to look ahead of a month or so. So this filter just gives me what's going to show up on my grid. And it's showing me, because I've asked for it, just incompleted stuff. So for me, it's the simplest thing. Show me everything that's still left to be done in the firm that hasn't been done. And if I look at my dates and say from this time on, you can see some of it's been received. It tells me how long that project's been in the house as far as the elapsed days that I've had the stuff since it's been received, the statuses, the number of estimated hours. All of these columns, just like everywhere else in the program, you get to define what entries go into these columns, what pieces you want to see. For me, this is what I wanted, and the order you get to choose too. Just like anything else, if employee is more important to you first, then it's there. If you don't want label, here, and I say I don't want a label, I had labels on. I can turn a label off. It's just a field. That's all it is. So I go into any one of my entries here and I say, has it come in the door? I say it's been received, or it's received on today's date. And I'm going to choose the employee to work on it. I want Alex to do it. I get to create the statuses. You can create any number of status. I'm going to call it in progress. So I've now put that into the system. I'm going to put some estimated hours in here too. So yeah, 2, good. So that now has been in, and it's now in progress. So you get to see everything that's going on with it. And when this thing, if Greg now is not started at this point, Greg tells me he's done his piece, I can change it from Greg to Donna. It's now on Donna's job list to do. It's just a place for me to see everything that's going on. When that's completed, I can mark it as complete and say it's been done as at today. So that job no longer shows up. It would show up in my completed. When I filter to complete, it's now in the completed and not in the incomplete. The actual very simple part of this thing is that it's just a grid, because that's what I've chosen to see. I could see it in a calendar form. So there's, again, all the work in the firm, by a calendar. Obviously, some of your months are going to look a little crazier than this. And calendar, for some months work really well. You're going to see it works really well for employee. For firms, it gets a little tougher. But again, you can choose then to change it from a month's look to a week look to a day look, or you can choose to filter just some things you're looking for. If you're looking for just tax work or you're looking for just payroll work, it will bring the calendar down to a much smaller group as well. So again, whether it's a grid look or whether it's a calendar look, I have a lot of firms that never get out of just using the firm. They deal with everything in the firm area. They manage it all from here. You can have multiple people in here and assigning where it is and the status on it. And when it's completed, it moves away from that. Sorry, you had something, Ted?
Yeah, the only two comments I have is you showed how you could change the employee to move it along, but the other thing is you're also allowing them to change the status. So the firm's creating the status, and how you're keeping in this one screen is that you're either changing the employee or changing the status.
Correct. It's basically just like a spreadsheet. If Alex has finished his piece, it goes to Bruce, and we go from in progress to now for review. And so you've now kept everything just in this one line. You can see exactly what's going on. You know who's got it. You can, sort it by the employees and see who's got what areas. You can sort it by the date. You can sort it by the client. The other step is that we weren't able to have in our on-premises. We can take all of this now and say, so who's working on something? So I can go to the employee view of things and not the firm view of things and say, show me what Alex is working on in here, if he's got anything that's within the same date range. Let's take this through to end of September, search. And so it shows him what he's got outstanding in that area. Again, if I looked at completed, I'd see anything that he's done or whether anything's incomplete. You could change if you have permissions again. I only looked at Alex. I could, if I want, say, show me what Alex and Donna and Greg and Bruce are working on and say search. And now instead of just Alex, I get to see Alex or anybody else's. This is a way to look at the employee side versus when I was in here, I was looking at it from the firm's perspective. What work do they need to do? And you'll notice a lot of them don't have employees assigned yet because they don't have anything in the door. Typically, when this comes in, I say it's received and it came in on today's date. And I assign the employee to it because there's now work to be done. And I change the status to in progress and say save. And so now that's there. So when I go back to Alex and he looks at his grid, so Alex now has two jobs to do in here. When he's done it, he can do the same thing, come in here and say, he's finished with it. And he's going to take it from Alex and say, let's give it to Bruce. And we're going to change the status from in progress to for review. So now from Alex's life, that job is no longer his. This will refresh and you'll end up with just one item in there. So he'll continue to do it until it's gone off of his. But the firm is always giving the overview as to what's happening in the firm. Who has the football at this point? Where is it? The thing that we wanted to make sure that everybody was aware is that this could be as drop dead simple as just having a spreadsheet. It can be as visual as having a calendar view as to what's going on. And in the employees, something Ted's going to show you when he gets into this side of it is there's several different looks to the activities. And you're going to see in his, some of them are going to go from a light color to then a dark color, meaning that they're now ready to work. And in this case, I want to see if they're incomplete, and you'll see in his case whether it's ready to work or not. But I don't want to steal a lot of his thunder because I like to keep it really, really simple. Show me what I got to do, who's working on what needs to be attended to, who should I be chasing down, what status are they in. For a firm to be able to look at this, I don't care whether you've got 100 events or 200 events, this is really easy to see, sort, and filter. Ted, again, I think just to keep it simple, I'm going to stop there and let you take the task side over.
Okay, so Tom showed you basically the easy way to do it, very similar to the current due dates. I'm going to get a bit more involved in doing more things. First, I want to explain the logic so you guys understand um, where the program is coming from and what's important. So what you have is a series of jobs or subjects. We call them jobs. And most of those jobs have a due date or a drop dead date. A lot of them are government mandated tax returns and so forth or fixed dates, but you got stuff internally, payroll, bookkeeping that you want to set a due date on. So those are your two jobs. From those things, the job and the due date, you assign clients and you assign the clients to them. And then the other important date is date received. Okay. So once the date received is, then usually work can begin. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Tom showed you how to move a job along by status. What happens, I'm going to show you the calendar view for a couple reasons. If I go to the firm and I go to my calendar view in the firm, again, you won't be working with it, but what happens is, do you notice some of these are faded out? Some you can see quite clearly and some are faded. The reason on the firm side they're faded is that they either have not come in the door, not received, or no employee's been assigned to it. So it's void. Remember, all these jobs are always in the calendar. That's what's different about this program. The jobs are here forever. Whether you go to 26, 27, 28, they're there. But now a very important concept comes in. Are they ready to work? So a job can't be ready to work if it's not in the door, or you've not assigned it to anybody to work on. So from time to time, coming in the calendar is not a bad idea to have it. Now, there's some other things in the calendar. If there's a little green dot beside it, means it's completed right here, or if there's a red dot, obviously you're still got to work on it. Anyways, so again, you use the calendar very much in the firm, but it's not a bad idea to sometimes just have a check and see if something is faded out for you. Okay, let's go back to the grid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a simple one. I'm going to pick Barnett, Williams, Nick. They've got a payroll, 2-week payroll that comes up. And it tells me it's part of 3 tasks. So Tom was showing you single task, 1 task job. I'm going to show you a 3-task job. So when I click on the payroll part of it here, it tells me that 1, 2, 3 tasks are in job. So the very first thing I'm going to put in this payroll, it's due on the 22nd. It came in the door on the 16th. Okay. And I can estimate the hours. I don't know, I'll just make it 4 hours. I'll save. Okay. And then I can choose to put a status or not. But right now I'm gonna use the status of logged in, for example. Okay, so there could be a status you use. Now I do want to say there's a few notes here that you guys should be aware of. There's 3 levels of notes in the system. One is in the client that appears year after year. So if you want something to follow the client's job year after year, there's a place in notes that's in the master record. These job notes follow this job only. Okay, so it's only related to this job. Now, for our Canadian clients, you also have a column here called e-filed notes, because once you file with CRA, they send you back a little code number so that you have that note available to you. Now, for the American clients, you can use this as an extra field for whatever you want, because it's just a text field that you can use it for a blank field of some sort or another. Okay, so this job came in on the 16th. And these are the 3 steps. I'm going to move a little bit. Where did these 3 steps come from? Well, when you go to advanced and you go to templates, and I've got a payroll set up here with 3 steps right here. I'm going to edit it and template event. And here are the 3 steps I set up. So you guys are setting up step 1, 2, 3. All right. So this is where the steps come from. I do want to take a slight divergent for you here as well. When you guys, for example, do an 1120S, a corporate tax return, T2 for Canadians, small business tax return, when you set up the tasks, I might want to send out as task number 1, send out the engagement letter or the organizer to the client as step number 1. So what I can do on that, when I set this up, I can say, you know what? I want to set this engagement letter. I'm going to give it to a person, and I want it to go out 45 days ahead of time. So now you can send the letters out 45 days ahead of time on whatever job you want to do. Okay. That allows you to get the letter as part of the workflow system for yourself. Okay. So I'm going to go to a 1099 here, which is edit and template event. And I'll go to my tasks and client info. So it's already assumes it's client info. But what I want to do here is add a task, and I'm going to enter the description, send engagement letter, right? I can select an employee for that if I want or not. And a work code. I don't know if I've got a 1099 work code in there. Yeah, I do. Advanced options. And I just want this letter to go out 7 days ahead of time. Whoops. +1, not minus. And I'll save it. And so now send engagement letter out, and I can move that now to the top of my tasks. Okay. Now, why I wanted to show you the flexibility in setting up tasks, these templates should work for 90% of your jobs of the same type, right? But if you have a client that maybe you want to add an extra task to or remove a task from, if you go in the client itself, you can modify the task template that exists with that particular client. So the templates are global, should work for most everybody, but if you want to do client specific, you can do that as well. Okay, so there's where task comes in. Let's get back to my very simple payroll example in the firm grid. I used Barnett here. We told it came in the door on the 16th. So now we're going to work with it here. Okay, so task number 1 is gather hours. So I'm going to set this up as Alex. So I'm going to set up Alex as the employee. Now, by the way, probably should know this. All the employees get a color in TPS. You can pick any color in the rainbow and give them a color. Alex happens to be dark green. So Alex, I'm going to have him do this. It came in the 16th. I'm going to have him do this on the 18th. Okay. And I'm just going to estimate. I'll just keep everything simple. 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. And it is ready. When is the job ready? Well, we've said it's ready by default. Okay. So I'm going to save that. That ready by default activation trigger is actually fairly important. If we're going to do the next one, we're going to do Alex here again, and we want him to do this on the 19th. And again, I'll just keep it 1 hour. But now the activation trigger is he can only start it after task number 1 is complete. That's the activation trigger. So we save that. And if we go to the next one, I'll give it to somebody else. I'll give it to Donna, and I'll give it to her on the 20th. Or the 21st, sorry. And again, it can be after the previous task is complete. Okay, so I'll save, 1 hour, I'll go 1.5, just keep it interesting. So, okay, so now guys, a little memory work. Green, the 18th, the green, the 19th, I better change this to the 19th. Okay, and red, the 21st, all right? So let's now go to the employee tasks here, and we go to the employee and we go employee grid calendar, grid the 18th for Alex, which was Barnett right here. I know it's hard to see. You can hold your cursor over it. Okay. Green the 19th for Alex. Notice it's faded out. You can't read it very well, can you? That's because it's not ready to work. The activation trigger hasn't triggered to notify Alex to get to do the job. And then red the 21st, I guess I put it payroll processing at ready to work. Now, the other part of this whole complex web is we've got notifications up here. So who do you want to notify? When does the employee get notified that they got to work? Well, we can do it by looking at the calendar. We can also set it up to send them an email. We can also say, oh no, the partner should also know. So we can send an email to the partner. So notifications is a great big area. It's a matrix of when you want things and who gets notified by the notifications. Okay. I'm not going to get much more into the discussion of that, but you've got them on task, got it on, if there's a comment made that you want now, If there's no comment, nobody gets notified, but if somebody makes a comment on a job, who gets notified of that? Workflow event. And then of course, if you've got the ultimate edition, if somebody sends you some information in the portal, who wants to get notified on that? So notifications play a big part in the workflow itself. So let's go back to the workflow. We're going to go to this guy, Barnett Williams payroll 22nd. Now remember guys, this guy is hard to read. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to add time in here. And I want to add, I'll just go 1 hour. Okay. And now I'm going to save that time. All right. And what it tells me, if I go to the time tab, I can see that 1 hour has been saved here. Okay. And it shows me 1 hour has been saved here. Now I want to put completed yesterday. Okay. Or I put in the 19th by mistake. Oh, it doesn't matter. I completed yesterday. Okay. Now that it's complete, notice this is a bright color. So this person would have got notified because it was completed. So we'll go to this one. We'll add time again. This time we'll put it 1.25 hours and we'll save that time. Okay. And we see that 1.25 hours has been added to this one. All right. Now, a couple things have happened by adding time here. And I'll put that this has also been completed. Oh, completed. I've already clicked that off. Okay. Okay. So what has happened here, if even though I entered time from the workflow system, if I go back to my time entry area, there's the 2 time entries for Barnett, Williams, and Eek. And I know it's part of the workflow because it puts a WF here. Okay. Now there's an implication for entering time from your workflow. We would probably suggest it would change your best practice as a firm in entering time. And what we suggest is that the employees now have a responsibility at the end of every day to come on this screen to find out where the time came from and that it adds up to whatever you guys decide, 7.5 or 8 hours. Because the time could be entered directly in the screen like you're used to. For example, non-chargeable time. But you could also be adding time from the workflow. So again, as a best practice, we'd recommend that the employees come into this screen at the end of every day and look it over. All right. Okay, let's go back to the workflow. I'm going to show you one other cool thing in the new program. I said I wanted this really done on the 18th so I can come into actions and I'll change the date and I'll make it the 18th and I'll change date. And now if I go back to the 18th, we'll see it there. There it is. Okay. So let's go into workflow again. We've got 2 of these done. Now we're going to go into, we're going to pretend it's a future, guys, the 21st. I'm going to go into 21st here. Donna's starting to work in this workflow. All of a sudden she has a comment. She says, new employee missing information. Okay. Employee missing info, and I'll save that comment. Okay. I want to copy it so I don't have to type it. There we go. Okay, so we've got a comment on the job, but what Donna does now is she now emails the client directly from here. So she can come here and send an email to Barnett saying, you know what, I'm missing the information on the employee. So she can send that information directly from here and emailed. That email is stored in the client and it's stored with this job. Okay. So now we've emailed Barnett to get the missing employee information. Now, what happens, this is where now, if you have the Ultimate Edition, not the Pro Edition, everything I've done so far is in the Pro Edition. In the Ultimate Edition, I can go to my folder here and I can grab or I can upload the files that were sent. And now this has just been uploaded. So with the job, let's just recap. This was a job, a 3-step job with Barnett, Williams, and Eek. If I go back to the firm, I go to Barnett, Williams, and Eek, right here, edit. And I can see these 2 were completed by Alex. I can see the hours, the visual and actual, and there's nothing done with Donna. But if I want to see the time, somebody I noticed said, if I want to see the whole time recap, here's a nice look. We're 64% completed in time that we budgeted for. So each job you can budget for hours. Here's who worked on it. And then Here's the actual work by type and the actual dollars spent. So you get a full recap of the job. Not only that, you get any comments that were made on the job, and now you get any files that are related to the job. That's pretty complete. And there's a little view up here, 2 of 3 tasks done. Here's your recap of hours and your actual hours were set. So this is using the full due date system in here. Okay, so we talked about the times. We talked about how it's important to set up a due date. It's important to talk about how you put in a date received. All right, so let's add one more step to that. All of your tax returns, if they're a 1040, they're due April 15th. If they're a T1, they're due April 30th. That's all of them. You have 600, 800, 1,000 of those things, okay? And when they're ready to be moved off, pretend these are tax returns. I'll just grab a few of them here, shift, and I'll grab this guy. If these were 1040s, I could come in here, batch update, and move them all off to, October 15th, okay? And click here. I'm not going to do it because they're not 1040s. And then they're all moved across to October 15th. So you got extended date. The extended date works a little bit different than the due date because all of those returns that are now due October 15th will show up in my October 15th workflow. They'll show up in there. However, the difference is when they are marked complete, they don't roll over to October 15th. They roll back over to April 15th. So extended date works a little bit different. It reverts back to the original due date when it's marked complete. Okay. Now to add one more date to your little discussion is expected date. Let's talk about a tax return again. Your tax returns are due April 15th or April 30th in Canada. You know as well as I do that some of your clients walk in the door February 1st and say, do my tax return. Well, they're still due in April. However, you might want to set an internal due date called the expected date. So I'm picking this, if they walk in February 1st, you guys might want an internal due date of February 10th, right? So the expected date functions internally as an internal due date for a particular job you want out the door, all right? I do want to talk a little bit about your statuses or your completion date. I've talked to different people, and not everybody has the same definition of completed date. The completed date, and you guys decide, some firms say, well, it's completed when the job is done. But I've got other firms that say, no, 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 it's not complete until I bill it. So if you say the job's not complete till you bill it, you could have, like Tom said, a status of complete, but then you would add an extra status called billed, because for your firm, it doesn't mean it's complete till it's billed. So you have that option. Okay, so we're looking at the employee now. Again, the employee calendar, I've shown you how the faded and not faded. What's also cool about the employee calendar, if I really want Donna to do this not on the 22nd, but on the 21st, but the 20th, I can move it. So the calendar is really nice for moving stuff along. You notice this guy spanned over 2 days. So if you have longer jobs, I'm thinking of audits now or other things, you can span stuff over multiple days. In the system. And then I'm going to get rid of Donna, who's red. Alex is green. There's another feature if you guys are using Microsoft Outlook Calendar. I can go here and I can attach my calendar here. And this is showing me all my Microsoft Outlook appointments. Why this might be important to some people watching, especially partners. You've been assigned 4 reviews, and guess what? Somebody booked you 3 appointments the same day. So it kind of is a nice thing to be aware of so that you can overlay your own appointments to the calendar. Get rid of this now. Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but you can attach it to more than one calendar here. So
Yeah, the firm employee, you got the ability to put Google in there, so you could have a crazy mishmash of all your calendars in there.
Right. So you might have an internal personal calendar, but you guys might have set up a firm calendar to book all your appointments through. So it will link to both. So you can have more than one calendar in here as well.
Right.
Okay. So now in the employee, I'm going to show you one other thing in the firm. Oh, we didn't show it at all, Tom, is if I want to come in here and I say filter on all the bookkeeping work I do, BOO, and I'll search this one, it will filter on all the bookkeeping work I have, okay? Now, whatever is filtered on the screen you can go to the print button and it exports it to a nice clean column Excel spreadsheet. So the printing issue is solved in TPS by whatever you have in this firm grid screen, not calendar, firm grid screen is printed to the printer here. All right. There's quite a few columns. I guess I could extend these out here. There's quite a few extra columns in here that you can choose from here. We're just keeping the basic ones in here. Now, there's another quick look. I just want to see how all my bookkeeping jobs are coming along. So I can come in here. I'm filtering on bookkeeping. Okay, great. But what I want to do is I want a different view. I want to view it as grid by task. And I'll go here and I just want my bookkeeping jobs. And here's all the bookkeeping jobs. This guy's got one more to do. Notice he's got 4 check marks. Now, what are these check marks? If you hover over it, it tells you step number 4 is adjusting entry. That right click. If I hover over 3, it tells me it's input to QB. So if you want a quick snapshot of a type of job that you're working on in a grid fashion with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 settings, this gives you a different look. Okay. Okay. Employee, I think we've shown virtually everything except we also have a board view, allows you a different method to move stuff along internally. Notice how I dragged in the calendar from one person to another, but I can decide what I want to do. This one I'm waiting on, this one is package for delivery, it's in progress. So you can move jobs along in the board here as well for a particular, now this is only one employee at a time that you can do this for. It's not multiple employees. We'll go to the planning screen. Okay, so capacity planning, again, all of my bigger firms use it. It's up to you guys. So what I've got is, this tells me hours by day, how much I've assigned Donna and how much I've assigned Alex. Okay. And what I can do if I got to tie out the summary, notice it's 1.5 hours. If I drag this job over to here for Thursday, put it in, and now Alex has got 2.5 hours. If Donna's got to do the sales tax, it's half an hour, but she doesn't have time, I can give it to Alex on this day. Now, what you can do is, I'll go to the bottom here and slide it over a little bit. What they're looking for is looking if any employee's got more than 40 hours in the grand total. So that if somebody's got more than 40 hours, you can reshuffle the work internally. That's why we call it capacity planning. Now, this is a 1-week view. You can have a 2-week view, 3-week view, or 4-week view. If you guys only work a 7.5 hour day, I can put 7.5 in here and it will recalculate everything now. Okay, and tell me the total. So capacity planning, great for bigger firms. I don't know if the smaller mid-sized firms will use it, but it's a great tool as well. The Tom will then also explain resources. Where that personal thing came in as well is if somebody has, you can pre-book a holiday. So if somebody has a day off, it'll show up in the capacity planning and resources area. I know I'm missing something, Tom, but I'll give it back to you. Oh, you want to include weekends here? That's not fine.
Okay, the only other thing to show, Ted, is if you go back to the firm or the employee, it doesn't matter which one, and go into the
Grid?
grid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we need to describe is some of the batch stuff that's here, that you can do
Oh,
on that.
how to get it in. Yeah, I missed that whole area. Okay, so
Yeah.
one of the most critical, useful functions in TPS is in your clients. Okay, and where that comes in is we're going to go into a client and it's called categories. We can't really do workflow without there being a category. What we'll do here, we're going to make this guy, I'm going to pick something that I don't know about so nobody can correct me. I'm going to make this guy a cannabis retailer. Okay, so I have no idea what this is, but I've made this guy a cannabis retailer. Okay, so in the simplest level for sorting on this, if I go to my reports and I go to my client list report and I go to my categories, okay, and I open it up, there we go, and I want to search cannabis, okay, it tells me it's here. Oh, before I get rid of the newsletter, a lot of the clients I've been talking to the last several weeks wanted to know how they could send a global letter out on the BBB bill so that they could say this affects you. This would be how you do it. You said these clients get a newsletter. I'm going to send them out a recap of the BBB bill. Okay. Anyways, I'm just going to cannabis right now. I'll come in here, and this now will give me a list of all my cannabis users. I have six of them, right? So it gives me a list. Okay. So now, because I know nothing about what actually is involved in Cannabisville, except that I can also, hang on, I can also come to my tools, and I can come down here and I can go to my template. Now, you guys are probably where you can do email templates, which describe go up with everybody I want to do. You can pre-type all your emails here. But what we've also done is in our template section, I'll go to my custom letters. I've got in here, I'll let you just kind of read them. I'll just move slowly. I've got over 100 letters in here that I can send out. And one of these guys is a cannabis one. There it is, an L19. So if I want to send out those 6 people an L19 letter, I could do it from here. Okay. All right. How does this relate to workflow? Let's go back to workflow. And let's go to the firm calendar. And we're going to go to the firm calendar. And you notice the 26th is empty for August. Like I said, I have no idea when cannabis notes are due, but we're going to pretend that the 26th is the due date for these cannabis things. So now I can go to advanced, bulk create. Who do I want? I want a category of cannabis, CANN, right? Boom. And I search. This should bring up 6 clients here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to send them all out on the 26th. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add these 6 clients in. All right. And then do I want to add a template? I don't have a cannabis template, but if I did, I could add it in here. Oh, there it is. It's cannabis. There we go. The 26th of August.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 26. Click. It's selected.
Recurring. Yeah.
Okay. Every year. Never ends. Select work.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need anything else.
Sure. Great for 6 clients, right?
Yeah.
I
Confirm.
confirm. Great. Okay. Close. And now I should go into firm calendar. There they are. Good. And all of them are not ready for work because the first task wasn't set up. Either I haven't assigned any employees, so they're faded out, or I needed to make it ready to work on date received. So
Do me
either
a
one
favor
of
now,
those.
Ted, and go to firm and go to grid now,
Okay. Yeah.
and go look for go into your filter up
Here's the
top and look for
26.
look in your filter
Okay.
and search for your subject cannabis
All right.
and search. So there
Yeah.
should be them all there. So
Yeah.
highlight them all now,
Yeah.
select them all,
Yeah.
and go to batch
Yeah.
and say date received. Yeah, update. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I'll
say
put
date received.
okay. Date received. And well, just pick an
Put it in the
arbitrary date
sure
of
15th
today.
or
Fine.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because all I wanted to show people, and you can do me a favor and just go back to batch again,
Okay.
because that all did that for you. But if you go to batch and say update,
Yeah. Right here.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you got to select somebody
Oh,
first.
okay.
Well, doesn't
You want
matter,
me?
one or all, one or all, well, it doesn't matter. So the trick is in the both in the firm and in the employee, there's lots of times you want to do things en masse, and this is how you do them en masse. And you get to choose whether you're changing statuses, date receives, date completed. You don't have to go through them one at a time. You can do them in a great bulk, 50 or 100 or whatever.
So
So
they all got
yeah,
status waiting now. Yeah.
so the
Okay.
bulks are really good both in the firm and in the employee. They
Okay.
work in both places.
Again, I had 6 cannabis imagine you guys have 600 1040s or 600 T1s. You want to do it one at a time or not? If you do, then don't create categories. If you want to have all 600 done that way, then just please create a category.
So just a couple of other things then that we really didn't touch on because we're now down to like 5 minutes here.
Okay.
If you're into planning, and well, let's maybe go back to the employee first. Go over to the employee
Okay.
and go down to personal tasks.
Okay.
So again, people have vacations. They happen. So if you go to add a new entry, then put Alex in as a vacation.
Okay. Okay.
So refresh again.
We'll go back to the drawing board. We'll figure
I
this
don't know
out.
what I don't know why yours doesn't work, Ted. Mine works just fine. Go
Well,
to planning now. Go to resources.
okay.
And do me a favor and just pick. So Alex and Donna.
Okay.
So
Here's Donna.
so go
Okay.
into September and go to the
Well,
latter
hang on.
part of September.
Hang on. I got to go to September.
Yeah, September 1 to 30th.
30.
Sure.
Okay.
And there should be your vacations.
Oh yeah, there they are, but they didn't show up on that screen. But here they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think it's just you're gonna lag there somewhere. But
And it,
the whole idea of the resource was to show you where they're going to have overlaps of personal stuff versus corporate stuff and what days are getting squished. This is very evident when you get into audit kind of planning because these are 3 or 5 days that you're dealing with or business days in there. You want to see how these people's times are actually going to get stretched out. So the resource becomes important. Again, you got a whole whack of people here. You go up to employees, and I only want to see the 3 or 4 people that are of concern to me. Upper right, Ted. Yeah, the employee right there. Yeah, and just pick the 3 or 4 that you want. And you're going to get the ones that you're looking
oh,
for.
I
You
unchecked
want the
these already.
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Okay. There we
yeah, you
go.
can clear the whole selection. But it's a way of again, these firms with 100 plus people, they're looking for different kinds of people. The other thing we didn't talk about, Ted, is what's new with if you go to the template area, go to advanced
Yep.
and pick a template,
Okay.
and let's add a brand new template. Just really simple here. Just create something new. Call it for roles or whatever. Just call the
Roles.
template name roles
I'm
up
sorry.
top. Up top
Template. Yeah. Yeah.
roles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so now, we've got something that happens as frequently or whatever. All we want to do is go to multiple employees, Ted, in the lower right, multiple employees.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, and go down to the advanced one, the little sort of starburst off to the right of the task.
Right here.
Beside. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have 2 ways of doing this. Normally you would select an employee. So if you drop down your little thing and says select employee, that's what you'll do, who it is. The other option is saying, I want that to be the role. So if you click on roles, no,
I want
go
it to
up
be a
to,
bookkeeper, right?
not yet, not yet,
Oh.
right there. So there's a little, no, there's a thing that looks like a lightning rod between the drop down of employee
Oh.
and
Okay.
roles.
Okay.
If you click on that, it now allows you to assign a role or a person. So if you drop it down, you now have partner, manager, accountant, other in that auto assign. So I always want the accountant to do step one. I don't know who the accountant is for whatever job I'm going to do, but it will pick it for that client and fill it in. The same with the next step, instead of doing it there, you can get rid of that and say employee again instead of role.
Okay.
Okay. And anyways, we'll leave it there. It doesn't matter. Down below, we can say the employees now have roles. They're not a partner manager. They're whatever you want to call them. Bookkeeping underneath the employee role. So yeah, down to where you were before. You're in bookkeeping now.
Yeah. Okay.
So drop that down. You get to define these by employees. So now again, imagine a firm of 30 or 40 people, 15 of them work on bookkeeping. So I'm only looking for the bookkeeping people to do this task. I don't know who's going to be available when we go to do the job, but you'll know when you get there who's the best person for it, or the employees get to choose. I'm a bookkeeping person. I see the ones available to me. I select it. Now no one else gets it. I've got that job. It's a way of not having to predefine Mary, John, Fred, Henry. It just says who's the most available person that does bookkeeping or does audit or does tax or whatever. It's
So,
just it's going to be really important when you've got more than a few people and when they are fluid.
so in the employee setup screen, this is the new field that allows that. This
Right.
was not here last month. So
Correct. And you get the new
this is
create
where
role.
you can create your own roles by hitting
Yeah.
manage
Manage.
entries, and you can create your own names saying, I
Yeah.
don't know who's going to do it, but a bookkeeper's going to do it, or a junior's going to do it, or a
Sure.
senior. So you can manage roles there. Tom, show that one other thing before we go. Where's that one where you can pick your calendar that you want to use? The country. Where's that part in?
Oh, again, you got to go back into the workflow.
Okay.
Back to,
Firm or
yeah,
advanced or
under advanced, yeah,
yeah,
and go down to settings.
yeah.
Okay. So now your holiday settings here, we don't know what holiday you're dealing with. So we need to decide on what country. So you pick your country up there, Ted. So Canada or whatever, US.
United States. There we go.
Oh, yeah, that one. Okay. And so again, the 2025 or 2026, if you go to the right and say import, then no, 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 import, it'll suck in all the dates. And now you can add any individual ones that are important to you or get rid of ones that you don't, um, in your firm don't have. And it's just a way of mass doing it in the system so that now when you say in the tasks, I want this to span 5 days, but they have to be business days. It will know that on, January 20th that they can't do it because that's Martin Luther. So it's going to span to the Monday. It will know how to look at business days and look at actual days. It's why we wanted to do this. This is not a 2 minute, what's in workflow. My area is really simple. When I show off the workflow, in the very simple part of it, it really is as easy as replacing a spreadsheet and just has more power to it because it brings in the employee. When you get into TED stuff, we can go right through to firms with very large audit groups that have 25, 30 tasks that need to be done by all different people. They get into subtasks. So I need to have 3 people working on it. There's just a lot to it. So before you dismiss, will it work for me? Understand there's a ton of stuff here. But also, if you think, oh, this is too complicated, understand you can go back to being very, very simple.
Yeah, we should explain subtasks as well.
Again, it's just within a single task that you have another ability to add another person to that. So
Okay. Anyways,
it,
I think we've overloaded everybody a
we
little
did we
bit by
did.
now.
I'm seeing glassed eyes on a bunch of people I'm looking at. So um, um,
Yeah.
and
And
that happens, but I think the biggest job here was this can be as simple as you need it to be, or it can be as in depth as you need it to be. And it's all there. If you and it's not you don't have to do one or the other. You can do a ton of stuff in the simple stuff and then a bunch of other stuff in the in depth. So mix the two if you need to mix the two.
yeah. So here's an example. All these that have a one here are the way Tom did it. You just move it along by changing the employee and changing the status. All of these jobs, I've decided to have multiple steps. So you can mix and match. So maybe most of your jobs you want to do just have one step. You want to move it along by status and employee. Fine. If you want some that are more complicated, you want it broken out, then create a template. So
and
I think,
and use the filters to help, whether it's in the calendar or on the grid, to bring it down to something that's easier to read.
okay.
Someone said we need a wine and cheese bar with the seminar. I agree. That should have gone into the suggestions. I
That
like
was
that.
that was me that agreed. Um, there were two people who asked if we were going to cover e-documents, DocuSign, and I said we're kind of running out of time, but I don't know if you want to cram that in right now.
Oh, um,
Do you have anything
if
ready, Tom? I do not.
no, if if you're currently using something like DocuSign, then all you need to do is attach your account to TPS, and now it's available within your portal. If you don't have DocuSign or you wanted to look at it, TPS has its own e-sign that if you look at it, you'd swear it was DocuSign. We have a third-party group that built it. That's what they do. So the whole e-signature is there from the very simple sending out something that needs a signature or with an initial or a date on it to something that needs a KBA or something that just needs a password. So
Okay.
if you need it, give us 15 minutes at your time and we'll actually show you how it
Well,
functions.
we've also got a 7 minute and 28 second video that shows both sides of the portal, shows what the accounting firm sees and it shows what your client sees. So if anybody wants that, that's a really good start because it shows
Right.
both sides. It's sort of hard to show both sides here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, there's a whole bunch of it stuck. So, and people ask, where are all these things? Remember, the entrepreneur, the first level is just time and billing. The second level pro is all of your practice management pieces, the workflow and the mass mailings, the client relationship management stuff. The ultimate is where we've put things like the attachment to Microsoft Outlook 365, the attachment to Google, the portal, the e-signature, all of that stuff is in the ultimate piece. So,
Well,
Okay,
and
and
Yep.
and can you say that what the extra charges for e-signing and what our options are other than DocuSign?
um, again, in TPS right now, there's either DocuSign or TPS e-sign. Our pricing is, oh, thank you. If you'd have told me you were going to do this, Susan, I would have known.
I think it's a $1.25 US, a signature,
Some
$1.50 Canadian, and you buy them in groups
KBAs
of
are
one.
around the same thing.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
buy them in groups of 100. They don't expire, and KBA is an extra $1.50, unfortunately.
Right.
And you can buy them in groups of 25, and they don't expire.
Right.
On that.
Thank you. I'm glad you remember that, Ted. My brain just
I
doesn't
hope I'm
remember that
correct.
stuff.
I hope I'm correct. Okay. Anyways, and you can get it. And by the way, anybody who upgrades to Ultimate or has Ultimate, we're giving you guys 100 free signatures, 100 free
Right.
envelopes.
And remember, those are envelopes. So 10 documents in one envelope, whatever. It's one envelope is one signature.
Now, the one thing I did want to say with respect to workflow, so the only part of workflow that we showed today that is not part of the Pro Edition is if I want to gather and grab the file that the client sent. You can email out of it, but if the file comes in, you can't grab that file and drag it into the client's workflow file. Okay, so that's the difference.
And Frank had one question that I'm not sure we covered. Can you bulk update a single task within workflow?
Bulk update is single. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying on the employee side, you can go to the employee because that's a single task. It's assigned to somebody.
Mhm.
And you can grab a bulk of those and do whatever.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because employee, really what you're thinking of when you look at employee is we could have called it, task too, because the firm is the event, the employee is the task. Like always, people, I'm amazed that we keep everybody in this without losing them because I see a few glassed eyes, but I'm pleased that there's a few people still nodding their heads and agreeing that they're with us. Um, we'll do this again. As we add new stuff to it, we'll do it again. But please, if you've got something, support's here. That's their job, our job, to try and help you figure out what you can do in TPS to make your life easier, because that's our job. We want to thank everybody. It's been great again. We're way over our time again, but we do that all the time. Have a great rest of the week.
Oh, somebody asked, yeah, whenever you use a portal, by definition, things are encrypted. So,
And
just
is
like,
e-sign live now?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Ciao, people.